Welcome, and thank you everyone for tuning in to COSM's first virtual Summer Solstice celebration. I'm Allyson Grey.
And I'm Alex Grey.
We're so grateful that you've come to honor the longest day, the shortest night. COSM stands for Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, a radically welcoming interfaith art church where we practice creativity as a spiritual path. Since 1996, the mission of COSM has been to build an enduring sanctuary of visionary art to uplift a global community. In 2008, COSM founded the perfect home here in the Hudson Valley of New York. This beautiful land in the town of Wappinger was acquired from the United Church of Christ. The UCC was founded in 1957 in direct response to the civil rights movement and was an early stand for equality, gender balance, and full acceptance of all races, values that we share here at COSM. Old maps show that a chapel was intended for this land, and this has always been COSM's mission. Now, after 11 years of restoring the old structures here, Entheon, the Sanctuary of Visionary Art, including the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, is in the final stage of construction. Alex and I send prayers of well-being to you, your family and friends, and pray for peace and relief to all who are suffering through these troubled times.
Well, over the past weeks, we've watched events sparked by the brutal killing of George Floyd, highlighting the numerous senseless police murders of Black Americans. Worldwide outrage over these deaths has opened a place for truth to be heard on the systemic racism and injustice in this country. This is an opportunity to change and to take responsibility for personal and collective transformation. It's impossible to grasp the gravity of pain sweeping through our communities of color. So we encourage everyone to help in whatever way they can. And we stand in solidarity with those who express anger and deep frustration with the systems that oppress and devalue Black lives. And we join with those declaring that Black lives matter.
COSM stands against police brutality. COSM stands against the disproportionate targeting of Black Americans by the criminal justice system. COSM calls for an end to the racist war on drugs. COSM stands against silencing the voices of Black and brown communities at the polls. COSM stands in favor of an equal rights amendment that includes all women and LGBTQ. In the chaos and unrest, within the sadness and darkness of these frightening times, we've witnessed moments of connectedness and compassion that inspire us to harness our frustrations into positive action and strive toward a future of transformation. May we enter a new phase in the United States of America, a phase of radical inclusion, fulfilling the promise of equality and respect throughout the whole human family, living in peace, serving and enjoying the fruits of creativity and love. Now, lighting this memorial candle, we honor the deaths of those who have been struck down unjustly, and also those who could not survive the pandemic. Let this be a moment when we mourn the loss of all whom we've loved. May their memory be a blessing.
Throughout human history, people have gathered on the summer solstice to inspire each other. Celebrations of the solstice have often included fire, because on this day we commemorate our connection with the ultimate source of all life, the center of our solar system, the sun. We're all creatures of the light. Summer solstice blessings to you. Great Spirit of light and love, eternal sun, burning in the soul of all beings, intelligent brilliance weaving the web of cosmos, thank you for calling us into being for a divine purpose, to serve you by serving the community, uplifting all dimensions of reality. This day we join in prayerful union, contemplating the unfathomable miracle of how life depends on light. We're nourished by the grace of sunlight, how green chlorophyll traps light to feed all life is part of Ultimate Mystery's greatest secret. Sun plus water equals leaf and flesh. Plumes of psychoplasma around the auric sun of our body-mind being glows and melts into the being of the sun, the star heart of our planetary order, the gravitational object that attracts us all, the source of our physical being, the sun.
As we sound the names of the sun gods from many traditions, embody the light and the warmth of the sun. Now become one with the sun. Ra, Aton, Helios, Apollo, Mitra, Shamash, Utu, Kivarina, Surya, Savitar, Datsbog, Kors, Soleil, Usins, Sanaa, Yandi, Bila, Tanatia, Kinich Aja, Sue. May all aspects of our being be purified, uplifted, and enlightened. May all resistance to love and wisdom melt away.
And now we invite you to envision your astral hands stretching over the heavens to hold our hands, connecting with the hands of thousands. Envision a vast net of astral hands forming a mandalic net of light beings surrounding our earth. Allow your sacred imagination to envision a symbol of the sun of the longest day. Let this long day sun charge your soul battery, empowering the radiant light in your heart. Envision yourself now as a glowing ball of light, connected to the aura of your neighbors and forming a geodesic grid of love light, like an atmosphere over the planet.
May we shine rainbow light rays of compassion and respect, justice and healing to transform our world into a peaceful place, honoring all creatures, welcoming to the whole human family, all races, all genders, all traditions. Our sacred mission is to get along, to interrupt humanity's self-destruction and make something beautiful together. Almighty Creator, help humanity sustain the remaining life web. Activate the divine imagination in us all. Limitless God consciousness, brighten our minds to remediate the damage we have done as a species. Allow us access to the transcendent dimension of our being, where imagining and realizing real worlds is possible. Help us all to build, in alliance with spiritual friends, a planetary civilization.
As a community of spiritual light, we commit to the collective well-being of the entire human family. May we enter an all-encompassing healing energy field, initiating us with openness to the pain and the beauty of life. Shedding a light on our own creative gifts to be offered to the world, let the light of the long day sun ignite our creative spirit and remain high and bright in you. Now, reimagined, relit on this longest day of light, let all beings be empowered with life and love. Thank you, Great Spirit. Please bless and protect the life web and the children of the earth. Amen.
Yashikoa. Aho.
Aho.
Well, we're being joined by Tyler James Berger to have a discussion about the summer solstice. Thanks for coming and being with us, Tyler.
Yes, thank you too so much for bringing us all together to celebrate the summer solstice, this day of the sun, you know, that nuclear reactor in the sky that burns our eyes from 92 million miles away and is the source of all life. Alex, as you said, like photosynthesis sits at the bottom of the food chain. But not only that, astrophysicists tell us that all the elements necessary that are the building blocks of life were born inside the furnace of dying stars. Carl Sagan famously said that we are all stardust. So it's no wonder why we celebrate the summer solstice, but how we celebrate the summer solstice differs so greatly between cultures throughout space and time. So I'm interested in hearing some things that you two have to share about how different cultures celebrate this day of the sun.
Yeah, well, I think that as you had mentioned, this is a holiday really that celebrates for many cultures and many ancient cultures the solar deities. So, of course, Horus in ancient Egypt, Horus was the falcon-headed kind of son of Isis that was always battling his uncle Set, who was the kind of the shadow and chaos and things like that. And Horus was, he looked a lot, they said, like Ra. Ra was the great sun god who also had a falcon head. So they said Horus resembled the Father in heaven, the true sun. So he carried the power of the sun. And so at the summer solstice, they had this ritual in ancient Egypt that was so amazing. We did get to go to these temples in Africa, in Egypt, along the Nile. They have these two cities, and one is Dendera, and in Dendera they have a huge Hathor Temple. And Hathor's the cow goddess, and she's like the goddess of the earth and fertility and motherhood and sexuality and drunkenness even, So she's a good time person, and she's the goddess energy that is the consort of Horus. And so like once a year, they take this amazing statue from Dendera, her temple, and they put it on a floating boat, a bark, on the Nile, and they would float it like 100 miles, all the way to Edfu, where the Horus Temple is, and which is an amazing temple, and it's really in great condition, the Horus Temple still. And but along the way, of course, they would meet in the various towns and things like that, and everybody would party and have it's Hathor, And so she's on her way to the summer solstice, where like 2 weeks of festivities of celebrating the marriage of Hathor and Horus. The statues kind of get together, and they represent the power that really, I think the people, ritual and ceremony puts you in relationship with meaningful symbols. And for them, these were the embodiments of the greatest powers of the cosmos. And so, but they had a personal relationship with them. They even resembled animals that they knew of and saw day to day. Now, if our gods resembled animals and creatures, do you think we would be so brutal to creatures and things? I think this was a beautiful idea that gave them the sense of the sacredness of the creatures in their environment. So anyway, that was a beautiful ritual.
Like, on the summer solstice.
Yeah, on the summer solstice.
They do in Egypt. It's amazing.
It was amazing. Ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Now, a lot of countries celebrate the summer solstice with the addition, the ceremonial use of fire. The fire, it's sort of funny too because it's so hot. It's usually the height of the summer, sort of. It's the middle of it's the longest day. And it's because of the turning and of the rotation of the earth that we have one day is the longest day and the shortest night. And so you have this really long evening. And of course at COSM we always have celebrated the long evening together, but you always have fire. And we always had fire for the summer solstice and fire spinning and fire dancing. And in many, many countries, of course, they have fire walking. So fire walking and carrying, like I've seen images of the Scottish people carrying their wives over the hot coals, with their kilts on, And then they have them down in, all parts of the world, Aboriginal parts of the world walk on fire. And the summer solstice is often celebrated with fire walking. It's a courage. That you have to stand in front of beds of hot coal and actually take that step onto fire. It's just the very act of doing it is more courageous than anything because many hundreds of thousands of people over the ages have done it, and it can be done.
And fire is a way of bringing the sun down to earth. A fire is almost like a microcosm of this like great force in the sky.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that a lot of the rituals that are done around the fire are shamanic drumming. There's a lot of instances of people doing prolonged fasts before they do dances.
That's right.
And these are all consciousness altering techniques. Yeah. So we see in a lot of these cultures, they're inducing trance. Why do you think that is? Why do you think these consciousness altering rituals are part of these ceremonies?
I want to just bring up that the sun dance, which is in the Southwest, occurs in the Native people, Native ceremonies, is done on the summer solstice. So that is a summer solstice ceremony. And tell us about the sun
dance.
Yeah, the sun dance. Yeah.
Wow.
They fast, like you said.
Yes, right. There's a lot of ritual preparation. It's a very intense ritual that is a kind of an endurance, and it's a demonstration of such faith, and it's a kind of almost like a sacrifice, an offering of love to the community, because it's to the spirit, and it engages just being out in the baking heat, and also there's piercing of the flesh and pulling from a big pole and cords and things in the center. It's such an amazing and group kind of event, and you know, it was something that had been outlawed, you know, our government, you know, and so it's had like this history of a very painful, not only for the people who are going through the ritual, but also because of the suppression of this great people and their really religious ritual, you know, that put them in touch with spirit. This is sometimes the gate of pain, like you were saying, drumming and many of these other ritual trance methods helps people to transcend their identity with the flesh, you know, because one must transcend the pain or find a way to endure or to meet it and things. And so people who have suffered greatly oftentimes have great rituals to work with spirit in their suffering and also in bringing health to their community. And so it's a great ritual which is now back, you know, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act has given people the right to perform many of their ceremonies and things like that without interruption. And so
I think it's the piercing that caused probably people some discomfort in thinking about the native people piercing their skin and hanging from hooks and things like that. I don't think it was acceptable, and so they outlawed it, thinking that they were protecting people. But I think that it's absolutely what people insist on doing.
It's an interruption of a religious ritual.
Exactly.
And so it's wrong.
Oh, and our friend made it all come back, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Aren't we glad that someone took it just to the Supreme Court so people could perform their traditions?
Yeah, I mean, honoring and studying the religious rituals from wisdom traditions all over the world is very much part of what we do here at COSM. What are some rituals that you have decided to incorporate into past summer solstice ceremonies here at COSM?
Well, the summer solstice ceremonies have been primarily celebratory, let's put it that way. We always do an orienting, contextual talk about what the summer solstice is all about, and followed by lots of merriment, followed by lots of music and fire spinning, and you know, and around the fire, lots of entertainment, lots of you know, also activity like making art and lots of live painting and things like that. So we're looking forward to you know, seeing everybody back here sometime in the future where we can have summer solstices together.
Now, what are some exciting updates that you two can share about COSM and its future?
Well, there are a bunch of people here. We're still working at COSM, even though we have no guests, and we're all sequestered. Most of us never leave, and we're all here together working every day on projects that were initiated before the sequestration. Like we have some updates on Entheon is in progress. There's a couple of floors are being completed. We're in the completion stage of Entheon. So we have the secret writing floor has just come in. It's very exciting, really. It's like a wood inlay floor with secret writing, and we're putting it down. It's
They've
something
been
we
working
ordered
on that for months.
8 months or so, yeah.
Yeah, Cerebral Concepts. They're really wonderful friends, and they did an incredible job. And
Yes.
we're looking forward to you're having an amazing installation
A
there.
sea of secret writing.
Yeah,
on the floor.
It'll be
And
incredible.
you designed an
Yeah.
incredible
Well-
six-pointed vision crystal for the vestibule
Right.
of the entryway.
Right.
an
As you
Entheon.
come in through the bronze doors, which are now in New Jersey,
Yes.
being engineered, because they're very heavy, like they're like 700 pounds or something. But they're being engineered, and so they're to be installed. We're having that floor produced. It's in granite and a little bit of marble. So we're trying to build it to last. We've been, building this slowly but surely, and it's coming along. So
That's right.
We're very excited.
We are not announcing a date of our opening yet, but we want to do that when it's safe for everybody. And we're still working. It's giving us time to work hard and put a fresh coat of paint on the entire house and the roof. We started this before any of this happened, and the roof has been going on throughout this. People have been roofing. I think there's like 49 planes of the roof. It's an old roof, this old house. We never thought we could do it, and we're doing it.
It's needed a roof for 11 years.
Yes,
and
for
finally,
more than that.
Finally, we're having it. So it will be the best it's looked ever when our community returns, which we are so looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. And until then, might I say that the Cosm podcast is in full swing.
That's right.
That's been a fun, exciting project to kind of release to our global community.
Yeah.
Last Thursday we published that your brilliant conversation with Duncan Trussell.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, and people can look forward to so many other interesting episodes like that in the future.
Thank you, Tyler. We're so glad that was one of the things we got underway. What else are we going to do with ourselves? We don't do any programming. We're doing just this.
Well,
this is fantastic.
It planted a seed
It
there,
did.
the vernal equinox. That was our very first podcast. So now here we are at the solstice. So we mark this period of time, which has been an incredible period of change for everyone. Everyone's had to go into their chrysalis, and then has had to work with how are they working with society in this way. So we're all just trying to integrate it as best as possible, and to live as strongly and with as much love and light as we can bring into each day. And
the summer solstice is a really great excuse for us all to kind of come together and meditate on our lives with each other, and meditate on not just the external sun, but our internal sun, that light within us,
Exactly.
just to kind of revivify that. And thank you two so much for holding these ceremonies for us and the world.
Thank you, Tyler. And I think you said you had a few parting words you wanted to say.
Well, I just wanted to say, may the light of the season, empower your creative spirit, and may any merit generated by our gathering be offered to the benefit and liberation of all beings. Happy summer solstice,
Happy
everyone.
summer solstice, everyone. Mwah!
Thank
To
you, guys.
Tyler,
Thank
too.
you, everyone.
Everybody should get home safe, right? You say it, then it'll happen, right? All right. Okay. So we want you all home safe, and we want you all to come back. We love you. Thank you so much for coming.
Ascension. Ancient beings, we love you all. We thank you all for coming out to Cosm, celebrating Summer Solstice 2019.